from the outside, we were just discussing it. It looks like a brilliant draw, commercially, very tough football-wise. Is that how you sort of sum it up?
Well, I agree with you in regards to the commercial opportunity. There's if you think about Adelaide Oval and the experience that we'll be able to put on with all those night games, blockbuster teams coming to town, you couldn't ask for more. In regards to the difficulty from a game point of view, I don't view it that way, really. Yes, we know that we play the grand finalists in the first month. Yes, they're tough games, but we view all of the games as tough, to be honest. I look at Brisbane at the Gabba, as a difficult game. So what we will know after the first 6 weeks is where we stand. We will have had a chance to set the season up. We've got 4 of those first 6 games at home. We're looking forward to it. Can't wait to get there, to be honest.
What about, you flagged it a while ago, 5 Sunday twilight games. Is that a good thing, or is that going to be difficult to do in the stadium?
Well, 3 of them are away. So the 2 games that we have here, one of them is an afternoon game with the Adelaide game. I've got a feeling that Adelaide Oval works twilight and night really well any day. That would be my feeling, particularly the way that Port Adelaide is playing. We've got a high level of engagement, so I'm not concerned about that. I said to the AFL, I think that we can make that work. Just that's my sense. But what it is full of is the Thursday night opportunities against Sydney. Think about that. Port Adelaide versus Sydney away, standalone. What an incredible seismic shift in the way that the AFL is thinking about Port Adelaide. And from a club's point of view, the national profile that will provide is enormous. Then you bring Collingwood to town on a Thursday night. We'll be doing a big Maguire-Kosh business lunch as something we did last year. We'll do that again this year. Collingwood Army will come across. They'll spend all weekend in South Australia. It's a fantastic thing. You got Anzac Day, Saturday night, Hawks. Enormous opportunities all through this from a commercial point of view. The Sunday games, as I said, I think that they can work, and that's a challenge for us to really make every slot exciting.
You're very night heavy, aren't you? I think you've got 10 night games, 6 twilights.
Yeah.
You're happy with all the night stuff?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I actually said to Simon that if you're going to maximise Adelaide Oval, put them on at night. The atmosphere is tremendous. Our lads love, the hype around that. It adds to the entertainment factor. I think it's really smart. I think the AFL have spotted it. They understand that, and they've really loaded it up, which is good.
What about Friday night? Should have you been able to get more Adelaide Oval Friday night?
Look,
in this town, is that enough?
In isolation, probably not. I think 2 Friday night games, one here, one away, is okay. I think added with the Thursday night exposure, clearly they're trying to establish another evening there. We're happy to be part of that program, and so I think the combination of Thursday and Friday night exposure is probably fair.
One of those night games is the Anzac Day game, I think.
Yes.
Hawthorn. Assuming you'll be planning something pretty special.
Well, it's going to be a special year, the 100th year, at Gallipoli, and so it'll be a very, very significant event. We lobbied very hard with the AFL, and again, I'm very thankful to them that they've recognised our commitment over 10 or 11 years to that event. The fact that it falls on Anzac Day, on a Saturday night, against Hawthorn, who also have a very strong commitment and association with the Defence Forces, is very special indeed. And so, that will be a very big night.
Given how hard you've lobbied over the last X number of years. Is that probably the most pleasing sort of single game out of the whole?
Yeah, well, it was this, of the themed events. That was clearly every year. That's our most important one. I know that Adelaide were really challenging for that opportunity this year. The argument that we put to the AFL was relationships such as the one that we have with the RSL and the Defence Force industry take time to build, and to keep swapping diminishes what you can do with that relationship and with that event. And so we really argued for a long-term, a continuation of a long-term association that we've had, and again, thankfully, it's been recognised.
Keith, you're talking sort of seems quite glowingly about the fixture that you got.
Yes.
Is there anything that in your submission to the AFL that maybe you missed out on that you might be a bit disappointed?
Probably a little bit of MCG exposure. I think that is the miss. And I think that we could mount a pretty strong argument that more games on the G would be valuable to us. But in the overall scheme of things, I think this is a fantastic draw. And if you take the competitive issues out and the potential fear around playing top sides, which we have, we just don't view it that way. We see them as great opportunities to play the best. Then it lines up as a fixture full of opportunity for us.
That must be very disappointing, like you said, the MCG thing. Given that there's potential for 3, maybe 4 games some weeks to be played
Yeah.
close to the MCG. And to get one.
Yeah, no, it's a good.
To finish top 4.
And I don't know the rationale. I probably need to understand that more, and I will be asking the AFL and Simon about that. Clearly, they have commitments that they've made that are being serviced, and we're not part of that. But I don't understand what they are, and clearly we need to work a bit harder to push our way into that. But I'm sure Ken Hinkley would say, if you're preparing for finals, the more opportunity you get on the MCG, the better. And I think that's a legitimate claim for a side that's been in the finals for 2 years and aspiring to do that again.
Ken Hinkley's also famous for saying, you get what you deserve and you
Yes.
don't want to give any of the players an out. But do you admit that first few rounds, that is tough? That is one hell of a ride. And coming home as well is tough.
Yeah, no, look, I don't. We really don't think of it that way. We'll play every side. I would suggest Hawthorn and Sydney and North Melbourne and Adelaide are looking at this and saying, we've got Port Adelaide in the first month, and thinking the same thing. Fair enough. There is when you start to develop as a side, as a competitive side, every game's the same, and you turn up and you play them on their merits, and that's certainly how we think about it.
Keith, what does it do commercially? How many members can you pitch for now? What can you do in the corporate market with this?
I reckon it's a really big play from a member and fan point of view. We already have industry-leading engagement with our fans. They're going to love that. They're going to absolutely love this fixture. But the big opportunities in the corporate space, the television exposure this year is significantly broader, and there is certainly more free-to-air and standalone television opportunities this year. We always get great service through Foxtel. So when you look at it, when you're having a conversation with your corporate partners or with potential new people, and you can talk about standalone national exposure, it's really significant. So and in our business model right now, it's the corporate angle that needs to grow into the club's performance. Right now, footy's working pretty well. Our membership engagement is working well. Our game day is working well. Our corporate result doubled last year, but it came from a low base. So we see that as the great opportunity in this fixture.
So the commercial half of the building is pumping its fist. What's the footy department doing?
They like the fact that the way that the Thursday nights has been treated is a positive. I think we get 6 day breaks, so they think that's about AFL average. That's about okay. That's okay. There's nothing there that's particularly concerning from that point of view, from a management point of view. I think that they would look at that and say, well, after 6 rounds, we'll either have our teeth right into the season, or we've got a lot of work to do. I think that's how they'll look at it, and look at it pretty positively. The other aspect in here is we go to Alice Springs again, which is again one of those things that we ask for every year, or to the Northern Territory, and we're very pleased about that. That'll be in the Indigenous round opportunity as well. So another tick for our commitment to the Central Corridor.
Did you ask for Thursday nights, or you were?
No, it wasn't part of our submission at all. In fact, I think I might have said, look, we'll leave that to someone else. But as it's turned out, they're there and 2 crackers, so we'll take it, enjoy it, and they're good opportunities.
No. Are you any closer when you get a draw like this to also making sure that you get the best return from Adelaide Oval? Where's that at the moment?
Tail end of the conversation. To be honest, it seems like it's been going on forever. The review, I'm repeating what I've said earlier, but we know that the Oval is generating more than enough revenue for everyone. We're concerned about the distribution at the moment, where it's all going, and we're trying to tweak it. But we are right at the tail end of that conversation. So I would have thought within 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have an outcome.
I mean, how crucial is that, a renegotiation to the club's bottom line?
Crucial.
And how did the club perform this year in that sense? I mean, usually we'd expect around about now to see sort of some financials from the club.
Yeah.
Can you let us know anything about that?
Yeah. Well, so we would. Firstly we got our budgeted uplift. That occurred. What we would say is that the budgeted uplift was based on a performance significantly lower than we delivered at the Oval in regards to attendances and all those sorts of things. So there was a lot of additional revenue that the AFL clubs haven't necessarily shared in. So it's really talking about that. Where does the whole pie go? That's the point of conjecture. It will have a fundamental effect on our bottom line result. There's no doubt about that. I don't want to talk about numbers, but both clubs will be impacted by the outcome of this review pretty significantly. So the more important thing to be thinking about is that this is a 20-year deal.
So simplistically, you got what you should have got for 32,000. You delivered 40.
Yeah, we're talking about the distribution of.
Bonus to that 8,000.
Yeah, we're talking about the distribution of the overs basically for the Oval, and that's the sort of stuff that we weren't absolutely sure how it would all work. Where would the money be spent? As people came into the arena, what would they do? And that's the sort of stuff that the review was designed to set out and explore and find out. And we've got a very clear picture now of how the Adelaide Oval economy works. It's now just a matter of tweaking it up and getting it in the right shape.
You mentioned the Maguire-Kosh luncheon.
Yes.
With Maguire, what did you make of Maguire's sort of call for conversation on the departure of coaches or something?
Yeah, I supported it. So there are two, as you know, we had the Richardson issue last year. There were 2 factors that you need to consider. Firstly, it's late, and there is an inconvenience factor when you are selecting assistant coaches and significant people in your coaching group after the trade period. There's an impact on that. The more significant issue is that whilst an assistant coach going to a senior coaching role can get out of his contract because that's built in, recruiting an assistant coach to go to another assistant coach or a senior assistant coaching role is not allowed. So the contract holds. So it's much more difficult and legally you have a real difficulty in making that happen, and so the call for compensation in those circumstances is valid because you're up for costs, and so I think it is incumbent upon clubs to make fundamental coaching decisions as early in the postseason as possible, and to enable the whole group to to work their lists appropriately.
But in the two sort of instances that you've experienced here with assistants going to higher positions, you think it's how it is at the moment is pretty much fair enough?
Well, I think it's very difficult. If you've got a guy who's been sitting in Phil Walsh 20 years in an assistant role, he gets an opportunity for a senior role, it'd be very mean-spirited to not allow that to happen. And I think that the whole industry understands that. But the next move is really difficult, far more difficult than that one to cover. And I don't think that there's real recognition of that. And these people have a fundamental role to play in the structure of your, like for us, taking Walsh out of our program was a big hole. Now, thankfully, we got a guy from outside of the industry to fill it quite quickly, and so that was okay. But had Michael Voss not been there, I didn't know where we were going to go, to be honest. So then you have to bring from within, and we're resigned to that pathway because I think that's the one that is most manageable and controllable. And I think most clubs will do that. But that's why you asked about the compensation. That's where the compensation comes in, because if you're pulling people out in contract, there's a penalty associated with that generally. So you probably need to be ready for it.
So given the way that it unfolded with getting Vossi in to replace Phil in that role, you won't be requesting compensation from Adelaide the way that you did St Kilda?
No. One, because they were early. They did it in early October, and I thought that was reasonable. And two, because he was it was really the timing issue. The circumstances were slightly different, but the timing, was 6 weeks earlier. So I thought that's reasonable. We were expecting that. That's the norm. And so we were accepting of it, no problem.
And Keith, when can we expect to see some financials for details of the rest?
Probably because of the delay in this the review. I wouldn't have thought much before the end of the year, to be honest with you. We're not going to rush it. Our AGM will be in February, so it'll be quite a number of weeks away, I would say. Yeah.